Olives once ruined a dinner party. Just one example of canned food mishaps in America's long history with pantry staples. If you recognize major food brands, you've likely heard of Conagra, the powerhouse behind a wide range of household names. So when the company recalls a product, it tends to make headlines. That's exactly what happened in 2023 when Conagra voluntarily pulled over 2 million pounds of canned meat and poultry from shelves. The issue stemmed from damaged and leaking cans discovered in one of their warehouses. Spoilage was detected, prompting Conagra to notify the USDA and begin a large-scale recall. Most affected products were Vienna sausages and potted meats, with the Armour brand topping the list of recalled items, followed by Kroger and Goya. Although no illnesses were linked to the compromised products, the scale of the recall was significant due to potential safety risks. Fortunately, swift action helped prevent any widespread health concerns.
SpaghettiOs.
In June 2010, SpaghettiOs with Meatballs vanished from store shelves after Campbell's Soup Company issued a massive recall, one of its largest ever. The USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service, FSIS, flagged over 3 million pounds of product for removal due to a potential food safety issue, suspected underprocessing. The concern arose after a routine inspection at Campbell's Paris, Texas plant uncovered a malfunctioning cooker. This machine, responsible for preheating meatballs to a safe temperature, had been operating incorrectly, though no one could determine exactly when the issue began. As a precaution, Campbell's recalled all meatball-containing SpaghettiOs made at the facility from December 2008 through June 2010. Roughly 15 million pounds were impacted, though Campbell's believed most had already been consumed. Fortunately, no illnesses were reported. Still, the incident highlighted just how much trouble a single piece of faulty equipment can cause in a high-volume food production environment. In the early 1980s, Alaska's canned salmon industry faced a major crisis that rattled consumer trust worldwide. The alarm was first sounded in February 1982, when 27-year-old Eric Mathey of Belgium died after eating canned salmon contaminated with botulinum toxin. Investigators traced the deadly contamination to a tiny puncture in the can, which had allowed the bacteria to grow undetected. The FDA launched a sweeping investigation, and soon after, 9 Alaskan canneries recalled salmon packed during 1980 and 1981, a staggering 60 million cans. Just 2 months later, in Connecticut, 68-year-old Ida Smith was hospitalized, paralyzed, and unable to speak after consuming more canned salmon. Another contaminated can with a similar puncture was discovered in the UK. FDA inspectors later traced the punctures to a faulty machine used to reshape cans during production. As panic spread, canned salmon sales ground to a halt both in the US and internationally. The recall became the second-largest canned food recall in US history, dealing a devastating blow to Alaska's fishing industry and exposing serious vulnerabilities in food safety practices. Baby formula recalls are especially unsettling, and in September 2010, Similac was no exception. Abbott Laboratories pulled nearly 5 million cans of powdered formula after discovering they might be contaminated with beetles or larvae.
Beetles, yes, beetles in them, because that's what you want your child to eat.
In September 2010, Abbott Laboratories discovered a small beetle in their Similac powdered formula at their Sturgis, Michigan facility. This prompted a recall of millions of cans sold nationwide. What made the recall especially concerning was the beetle's potential impact on infants. Abbott described it as a common beetle, warning that ingestion could lead to gastrointestinal irritation and loss of appetite. This led to multiple lawsuits, with some claiming the company delayed the recall by a week. The incident raised significant concerns over the safety of baby products and sparked a public outcry. Thanksgiving took an unexpected turn on November 9, 1959, when cranberry sauce disappeared from dinner tables across America. The cause? A nationwide alert issued by Arthur S. Fleming, the Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare. He warned that cranberries from the Pacific Northwest were tainted with a weed killer known to cause thyroid tumors in rats. This violated a 1958 amendment to the 1938 Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act, which prohibited cancer-causing additives in food. Though canned cranberry sauce had become a Thanksgiving staple by the mid-20th century, the contamination scare left people hesitant to serve it. Ocean Spray, a leading cranberry brand, tried to reassure consumers by claiming that it would take consuming excessive amounts of cranberry sauce for any harm to occur. Despite this, Fleming ordered cranberry producers to withdraw their products for testing. Days before Thanksgiving, 16 million pounds of cranberries were cleared as safe, but the damage was done. The public was too frightened to risk it, and even President Eisenhower chose applesauce over cranberry sauce that year. In February 2025, Tri-Union Seafoods announced a voluntary recall of certain canned tuna products due to possible bacterial contamination. Affected brands included household names like Geneva, Van Camp's, H-E-B, and Trader Joe's, raising concerns among consumers nationwide.
No illnesses have been reported so far. If you have a can, though, you are urged to throw it away.
The issue behind the recall wasn't the tuna itself, but a flaw in the pull tab lids. Tri-Union learned from its can supplier that some easy-open lids failed to properly seal, compromising the airtight environment. This creates ideal conditions for botulinum bacteria to grow in low-acid foods. Given botulism's serious health risks, Tri-Union acted quickly to remove the affected cans from store shelves. In October 2015, a recall from Skipanon brand seafood triggered a chain reaction across the Pacific Northwest's canned fish industry. A month earlier, the Oregon Department of Agriculture ordered the family-run cannery in Warrenton, Oregon, to cease operations after a joint inspection with the FDA uncovered missing processing records, a serious violation for a facility handling low-acid foods like canned fish. Although no contamination was found, the lack of documentation raised red flags about the risk of botulism, prompting Skipanon to recall its entire stock of tuna, salmon, steelhead, and sturgeon. The situation rippled outward quickly. Skipanon also packed products for numerous other companies, and 17 brands ultimately issued secondary recalls. The scare shook consumer confidence and heavily impacted regional producers. According to their Facebook page, Skipanon brand seafood eventually shut down, ending operations after the costly recall and regulatory fallout. Botulism from store-bought canned goods might sound like a thing of the past, but in 2007, Castleberry's changed that perception. During peak summer grilling season, health officials in Indiana and Texas reported 4 serious botulism cases. Each person had eaten Castleberry's chili sauce and fell so ill they required hospitalization and ventilator support. On July 18th, the FDA issued a public health warning, and by the next day, Castleberry's began recalling several products made at the same Georgia facility. While officials couldn't recover any labeled cans from the affected households, one couple had leftover chili stored in a plastic bag, which helped link the cases to Castleberry's. An FDA and FSIS inspection of the company's Atlanta plant revealed critical issues with its canning equipment, prompting a broader recall. By July 21st, the company had pulled 91 chili products spanning 25 brand names from shelves. It was a shocking and far-reaching food safety failure, proof that even trusted pantry staples can carry unexpected risks when safety measures break down. We've all heard the warning, don't eat from dented or bulging cans. Botulism could be lurking inside. In early 1973, that warning became a national crisis. Workers at United Canning Company in East Palestine, Ohio, spotted a swollen industrial-sized can of mushrooms and quickly alerted authorities. FDA tests confirmed the worst. The can contained Clostridium botulinum, the deadly bacteria responsible for botulism. The company promptly recalled over 39,000 cans, but the contamination had already rippled through the supply chain. Pizza distributors using those mushrooms had to act fast. On February 9, 1973, more than 44,000 frozen pizzas made by Fabrini Family Foods were buried in a Michigan landfill, a surreal moment dubbed the Great Michigan Pizza Funeral. The FDA launched a sweeping investigation, ordering recalls across the industry. One contaminated lot traced to Fran Mushroom Company triggered the recall of 500,000 pounds of mushrooms. The fallout grew. Tens of thousands of frozen meals were pulled from shelves, and over 4,000 warehouses were inspected in just 2 months. By the end, more than 75 million cans of mushrooms had been recalled, making it the largest canned food recall in U.S. history, and a defining moment in food safety enforcement. Tuna has long been known to contain mercury, but the 1970 recall brought attention to just how dangerous it can be. The controversy began when a New York chemistry professor tested the mercury levels in canned tuna from his pantry, discovering levels far beyond the FDA's recommended limits. In response, nearly 1 million cans of tuna were pulled from store shelves. Mercury poisoning can cause severe health issues, including cognitive damage in children and fetuses, memory loss, and motor skill impairment in adults. The FDA issued a warning, stating that fish with more than 0.5 parts per million of mercury could be subject to recalls. The commercial fishing industry, however, strongly opposed these regulations and took legal action against the FDA in 1979. As a result, the FDA relaxed the guidelines, raising the mercury threshold to 1 part per million. This level is now considered one of the highest acceptable limits for mercury in seafood worldwide, raising ongoing concerns about the safety of eating tuna and other fish regularly. The olive tragedy of 1919 reads like a mystery novel, full of suspense and loss. On August 23rd, at a country club near Canton, Ohio, a woman hosted a lavish banquet for 200 guests. Among the food served were ripe olives and various sweets. A few guests noted that the olives tasted off, which prompted a chef and 2 servers to sample them as well. Soon after, several people, including the chef, 1 server, and 5 guests, fell ill. Tragically, the chef and 1 server died, along with the host herself. Investigations revealed that all the victims had eaten olives from a jar with a faulty vacuum seal. Tests confirmed the presence of botulism-causing bacteria in the remaining olives. This deadly incident, along with several others in late 1919 and early 1920, claimed the lives of 18 people. All deaths were traced to jarred black olives from California. To prevent panic from damaging the canned food industry, both the canning and olive industries collaborated to fund the Botulism Commission. The commission's research led to stronger regulations on olive processing and canned foods, changing food safety practices forever. This tragic event became a turning point for food industry oversight, saving lives and improving safety standards.